All right, let's talk about DeShaun Watson. Don't usually talk about sports. We all had to do a lot of research for this one, but whenever you look at this case, it tells you a lot about the NFL, a lot about the media, a lot about who suffers and who doesn't suffers, how much money is at stake. And so we did our best in order to try and represent it. We know a lot of you guys care about it as well. So let's go ahead and put this up there on the screen, which I think actually sums it up quite well. For those who don't know, DeShaun Watson has been accused by dozens of women for sexually assaulting them during massage therapy appointments. To be clear, he was not criminally charged, though some allegations were presented to the grand jury. However, a lot of evidence now shows you that the team helped cover up, the Houston Texans at the time, helped cover up some of those allegations and really got him off the hook and tried to get him past all of this. He was eventually then signed by another team, but he has now been suspended by the NFL after a resurgence of allegations against him by the New York Times for only 6 games. And as that tweet sums up, for guys like DeShaun Watson, Adrian Peterson, Ray Rice, Ezekiel Elliott, and DeAndre Hopkins, these guys have been all suspended for 6 games for various violations, ranging from felony child abuse to punching your girlfriend in the face on camera to now sexual assault allegations. But, and I think we covered this case previously, Calvin Ridley, this guy bets on a game that he didn't even play in, and he is suspended for an entire year. And as we commented on the time, the reason why he's being suspended more for 17 games is because the NFL and sports media and all of them are making money hand over fist in sports gambling.
Right.
So screwing with their money and the integrity of all of their new deals with these sports gambling companies is not nearly as objectionable as being very credibly accused of sexual assault by dozens and dozens of women. And also, he's not even losing that much money. Barstool points this out. Let's put this up there on the screen. The way that his deal is structured, he will only lose $300K of his $230 million deal due to the way the contract was structured because his lawyers knew that this could indeed be a problem.
That's right. And the Browns knew this could indeed be a problem. Once I started reading about this case, I honestly couldn't stop because there is so much there are so many layers to this. First of all, the Browns acquire this guy when he is under shadow of investigation after all of these allegations have come out. They hire this guy. They sign him to, this is a record-breaking, historic amount of money in this contract that they have signed him for. Here's the comment from their general manager, Andrew Berry. He said at a news conference in March, "We felt good about DeShaun as a person. We felt good about what we learned about the cases to a point where we felt comfortable pursuing the trade, bringing him into the building. And if we didn't, in terms of what happened or moving forward, we would not have made the trade." I do want to give you a few specifics because it is so gross what he's accused of doing to these women. And when you've got dozens of women coming out with very, very similar stories, and also there are text messages exchanged. I mean, there is a lot of evidence here that he was engaged in all sort of harassment and outright sexual assault, repeatedly, like aggressively booking these massages, asking these women to come to hotel rooms and things like that. And then he would try to coerce them into all sorts of sexual favors, whether it was all sorts of sexual favors. We'll just leave it there. So one of the things that really horrified me the most is this is also someone who held himself out as like, oh, racial justice and I support the Black community. He even used that to try to manipulate some of these women. One of the women that he was like basically begging to come and give him a massage, he threw in there like, oh, I'm just trying to support Black businesses. So this is someone who says he supports Black Lives Matter, and then he's accused of harassing and assaulting Black women and claiming that it's, you know, in support of Black businesses and the Black community. So incredibly disgusting. So yeah, the other thing that is grotesque about all of this is part of the justification that was given for why he got such a light sentence is because the person they brought in as this like sort of arbitrator, judge, whatever, looked at those past instances of domestic violence and other horrific and potentially criminal behavior and was like, well, if they only got 6, 7, 8 game suspension, I can't really say this is worse than what they did. So she actually used the NFL's failures in the past to justify the failure here, which is I mean, it is astonishing. It is disgusting. It is all of those things. But yeah, I mean, bottom line, what it comes down to here is the one dude who was betting on the game that he wasn't even playing in messed with their capital, and that's what they ultimately really care about. That's just as obvious as it can possibly be.
Yeah, and they point out to the fact that he would literally come into his locker at the Texans stadium, and the former Secret Service agent, who was the director of security for the Texans, was placed a NDA in his locker after Instagram posts began to surface showing that he had a problem with being accused. And it's pretty clear here that the Texans were doing everything they could in order to get Watson, in order to get these women to sign NDAs. He's now being sued by a variety of different women, and the depositions and more are pretty horrifying. I encourage people to go read this Times investigation. If it's multi-thousand word, let's go ahead and put this on the screen, and we'll have a link in the description as well if you want to go and read it. But these guys get away with a hell of a lot because of who they are, even though it's all out in the open. They get paid tens of millions of dollars. And then even whenever it comes to the surface, again, for the second time, you get suspended for 6 games. I mean, it's just, what kind of example is this to set for other players? And it's clear, screw with the money and the integrity of the gambling. Oh, hell no. You're going to get everything thrown at you. But, credibly accused of sexual assault by dozens of women and getting sued like this, and even admitting to a lot of, at the best, like bad contact in open court or in closed court in a deposition, and now it's all been leaked out. That doesn't seem to be a problem for the Browns organization, for the NFL. I mean, it is. There's a lot to say about it. Like, I don't watch the NFL, but I do know that millions of Americans care a lot about it.
Yes.
Kids and other stuff watch this, and they're looking at this, and there is a clear example that's getting set.
I mean, this is a guy who had access to all of the Houston Texans massage therapists. He didn't need to go anywhere, and yet the New York Times investigation found that he had booked massage appointments with at least 66 different women.
Right.
From the fall of 2019 through the spring of 2021. Some of those additional women who hadn't sued him said that he had requested sexual acts. So it's even more than the number of women who directly sued him, the amount of women who said, yeah, he requested sexual acts from me as well. He denies the allegations.
Yes, he denies the allegations.
Cable news is ripping us apart, dividing the country, making it impossible to function as a society, and making it impossible to know just what is true and what is false. But the good news is they are failing and they know it.
That is why we're building something new, a new mainstream, a healthier one, something more trustworthy, something that we are going to need in one of the most pivotal times in American history. We are building up here for the midterms, for the upcoming presidential election, but we need your help. So if you can help us out by becoming a premium member today at breakingpoints.com, we're trying to change America for the better and the entire world.
So what are you waiting for, guys? Go to breakingpoints.com and sign up and help us build a new mainstream.